Monsieur Hire from 1989 is one of the first movies you see when you go to Roger Ebert's Great Movies list online. And the movie I've been meaning to watch for a second time for a few weeks now. I'm not exactly sure why. I watched this movie for the first time back in 2018, I think, and didn't care that much for it. Although, to be honest, back then I wasn't that committed in sitting through the whole film. I think I judged the entire movie based on the first 5 minutes and my misinterpretation of the premise. After that, I probably used the 10-second skip button to finish watching it. The majority of times I do this, it works out. Most movies I watch are pretty boring, and the odds of them impressing me are not that high. I watch a lot of crap, but I think that goes for most people. Everyone has their own favorite films, and that list is considerably shorter than all the films they have seen so far in their lives. But every now and then, a little voice in my head tells me to give a movie I've already seen a second chance. And so I watched Monsieur Hire. This time I didn't skip forward. I sat back and enjoyed this amazing piece of cinema. Spoilers by the way, this movie came out in 1989 after all. I'm obviously recommending it. So if you haven't seen it, pause this video, go check it out, and then come back. Monsieur Hire is about a man who keeps to himself, doesn't like to socialize with other people, small talk and things like that aren't for him, but he also doesn't take shit from other people, unless they are children, in which case he just ignores the little annoying creatures. He usually talks back when someone is trying to spy on the weirdo of the building or criticize him for being antisocial. One day, a 22-year-old girl is mugged and killed next to his building, and this is where the story begins. This is also where my initial misinterpretation happened. I thought the character that got killed was another character in the movie, and the narrative was jumping back and forth in time. That does not happen. The detective in charge of the case immediately thinks he was the guy that keeps to himself and doesn't talk to anyone that did it. It does not help to be disliked by your neighbors when things like this happen. That's why when you see a documentary about successful serial killers, they usually had a charismatic personality and everyone loved them. Easier to get away with it when nobody imagines you could do something so horrible. Anyway, to make matters even worse for our protagonist, Monsieur Hire, that's also the character's name by the way, he has a very creepy hobby. After he finishes work and comes home, most of his time is spent watching his neighbor through the window. And the neighbor is an attractive 20-something-year-old. This is where some people might begin to think that the protagonist is actually guilty of killing the other girl. Even if he isn't, having a hobby as creepy as this one isn't going to make him look innocent. If anything, it comes off like a setup for him to go to jail. The plot thickens when the girl he watches realizes she's being spied on and doesn't dislike it. In fact, most scenes after this moment are of her playing with the protagonist, coming down the stairs and dropping a bag full of tomatoes, getting down on the floor to pick them up one by one in a way that makes our protagonist very uncomfortable. It's fun when the movie you're watching takes a turn you weren't expecting. But this isn't where the movie went from good to great. That happens later on, after the protagonist and the girl spend more time together, and he bluntly asks if she's spending all this time with him because she truly likes him, or, spoilers by the way, because her boyfriend killed that other girl and she wants to get close to Monsieur Hire so she can frame him for the crime. This is the moment the movie became great. It turns out the protagonist is not only innocent, but he also knows who the real killer is, and he's smart enough to realize this girl might be playing him. Remember what I said about him not taking shit from people? This complements that point. He's well aware that the girl he's in love with might only be using him to save her boyfriend and herself. That's why the ending is so rough to watch. I didn't see it coming. I thought something else was going to happen. Her betraying him after her boyfriend betrays her belongs in a top 10 anime betrayals video. It was hard to watch. He didn't deserve that ending, no matter how creepy his hobby was. He never actually hurt anyone. The only crime he was guilty of was holding information and evidence from the police. I guess watching her through the window as well, but I don't know how that works in France. The satisfaction I got from seeing the detective reading the letter and receiving the bloody raincoat that belongs to the girl's boyfriend felt so right. Almost as good as Italy destroying England's hope of its coming home in this year's Euro tournament. This movie is fantastic. It's smart, well put together, has interesting and compelling characters, a brilliant music theme, and hits all the notes that make a movie like this work. It's a film that relies on the characters and actors to carry the plot, so if they don't work for you, then I don't think you'll enjoy this movie very much. That's why movies are subjective. Not everyone can agree on what makes a movie great. I'm giving Monsieur Hire an 8 out of 10. I loved it, and I can't see myself watching this again. Not right away. This is one of those films that you want to digest slowly and think about it. But I definitely see myself watching this for a third time. I might even make another video about it, who knows. Right now, I'm working on a review for Uzaki Drop, both the anime and the manga. That's the biggest project I'm working on right now. And it's an old one. I started writing the review script back in February, and then midway through March, I gave up on that video because I wasn't feeling it. But now I kind of want to keep going and try to finish it. I want to have more videos about anime on my channel. I'm also working on a list of the best movies and series from 2016, but that's going to take a while. I don't expect to finish that anytime soon. Also, I'm going to focus more on reviewing older and classic films like Monsieur Hire. I've kind of lost interest in reviewing current movies. Most stuff that comes out is mediocre garbage anyways. Even when I enjoy them, I don't have that much to say. Take Black Widow for instance. It was fine, not great, not terrible, just another Marvel Happy Meal. 4 or 5 out of 10 by the way. I'll review current movies when it's something I truly want to talk about, like Dune, whenever that comes out, or if it's something noteworthy and I want to have a recording of my thoughts on it at the time of its release. That way I can watch it whenever I want. I'm also thinking on doing some Dexter reviews now that the show is coming back. It's one of my personal favorite series, and I've been meaning to make a video about Dexter ever since I first saw the show back in 2016. Not sure if I'll have the time though, because I also want to make a video on the ending of Attack on Titan, the manga that is, before the second part of season 4 comes out. There's still some hope the anime will have a different, more competent ending. I mean, it's fake hope, but I'm still hopeful. Anyway, see you next time.